Okay. Here we go. Hey guys, it's me1239 here, and I'm here to give you guys a clarifications video. So in my last reaction for Anne with an E, for season 3 episode 8, I received a few comments where I was informed that either they didn't like the way I reacted to this episode or I was misinterpreting the episode. So I just want to give in my opinions about that and clarify what I was feeling and why I was feeling those certain things in that video. So first I just want to say that I filmed this reaction back in November of last year. So I think this was maybe about 2 weeks after this episode already came out. And at that point I had finished reading Anne of Green Gables. So Anne's image from the book was still fresh in my mind. And I think that definitely changed my perspective and what I thought of Anne in the show more than it already was, because if you have paid attention to my reactions, I often roast Anne's immaturity in the show. But then obviously since a lot has happened since then, I see the character in a very different way. So I just want to clarify that I think differently from some of the things I've said back then, but I didn't want to omit anything I really thought back then, because that was truly how my first reaction to watching that episode was like. So yeah. So as I said, since I had just finished reading Anne of Green Gables, and then watching this episode just reminded me of the stark differences that the two materials have with one another. And this episode really helped me understand why a lot of the book and lovers don't like the show. Not saying that everyone who has read the books before watching the show hate the show, but I know a lot of people who have read the books and compare it to the show and absolutely despise the show. I had understood more of their perspective when I first watched the episode. It's really not about how accurately depicted the storylines are, it's more about characterization, but I think that also says a lot about how the show chooses to handle this character that we all pretty much know and love. She's not whimsical or gentle in the way I want her to be, in the way she was more like in season 1. She lies heavily throughout the entire season. She continues to do so even when she promises Marilla that she wouldn't. Her lying causes Josie public humiliation in episode 7. Like Miss Stacy said, large actions should be taken with precautions. They should be carefully planned and flawlessly executed. But right here, right now, I'm going to provide a nuance for Anne's character. She's an anti-hero. This is something that R.H. Thompson recently brought up in an interview with the cast on a Zoom call. And I looked into that more and I tried to see his point, and I started to. And I think this is where I started to change my point of view of Anne's character, not just in this season, but I think in the show overall. So if you guys don't know what an anti-hero is, it's a character who operates for the greater good, but in unconventional ways. Let's say, for example, Anne lies a lot, but she does it to help Coquette, provide her address, to find Matthew Love, to get justice for Josie, but she still lies. Now, looking at it from this perspective where she's an anti-hero, she's still trying to do good. Obviously, intention matters, but also how you do it also matters. And I think that's what I had the issue with in the show, but I still think I have to do more research about that. Yeah, I still have to think about why they chose to do that for Anne in this show. I feel like they emphasized her flaws more than they did in the books. She is basically cured of her imagination and mischievous ways in the book. Like, she becomes more mature, and that's a significant stepping stone for Anne in the book. In the first book, at least. I don't know about the rest. But in the show, I don't think she really gets to that point. She might change her clothes. That still doesn't mean that she's changing. I need to do more investigating on why they decided to make her an anti-hero in the show. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's basically it about Anne's character. As I said before, I roast Anne a lot in season 3. I roast her a lot in other episodes, so it's not like I just don't agree with this one thing that they did in the show and that's it. Like, no, she's pretty much been like this since season 2, and I haven't really liked her character all that much as I used to in season 1. That's just an honest opinion. If you go back to my episode 9 season 2 reaction, it's pretty much there, I think. Another thing I just want to bring up is the fact that obviously you guys wouldn't really tell, but I filmed my episode 8 and episode 9 reactions back to back, so I didn't really have enough time to step aside, write down my thoughts, ponder on why they decided to do certain things in the episode. I couldn't be like, oh, in hindsight, I understand why they got drunk in this episode. I think distance and time away from something definitely allows for one to have a much larger perspective on that thing because they are given more time to think about it, but I didn't allow myself to do that for this episode because I was on a time crunch. It was like my last few weeks of first semester in school. I couldn't allow myself to do that. And I guess that's why my thoughts and predictions segment of my videos, of my reactions, have been more effective when I give myself enough time to think and to reflect on the episode. But for this one video, I wasn't able to do that. And I think people underestimate how much goes into making a reaction, how many things you have to worry about when you're making a reaction. So for me, I'm usually on a time crunch when I'm making reaction videos because I like to have absolute silence, so I try to wait until my family is away. It's ridiculously sad how many things I tend to miss when I'm reacting to something, especially when it's a blind reaction, because then I don't know what's gonna happen. Sometimes I'm like concentrated on one thing, or I'm talking when I'm talking, because I like to talk during my reactions. I think that's one of the most entertaining things about doing reactions. I like giving my thoughts out, so sometimes I'll miss something, but that doesn't mean that after watching the episode again I won't understand what I missed. Oftentimes I don't rewatch an episode until I go back and edit the reaction. There's just some episodes I like to watch once, and then it'll take me a while to rewatch an episode again, especially if I have to edit a reaction. Then it gets really tiring because you have to watch it over and over again. So yeah. And I think what also contributes to this is the fact that I am posting these very late. So I think a lot of you guys think that that this is just me reacting to it right now, but it's not. I know all this stuff already. So even if I just say something in the video where I ask a question like, oh, what's gonna happen here? What's gonna happen there? I'll like know it by the time I'm editing, so I don't really need clarification. But yeah, I just want to reemphasize that even if I don't necessarily catch everything the first time I watch it, when I do eventually go back and watch it, I will understand more because I'm not focused on, oh, is the camera still on? Is my lighting okay? Do I look okay in the video? Can you see my reaction? All that stuff goes into reacting to something. This is one of the final things I'm going to bring up, and it's the fact that I joke a lot about wanting Winnie and Gilbert to be together in the end. I think that's because of the way I see Anne, or the way I saw Anne. Obviously, I still ship Sherbert, but I have lost interest in them throughout the show. Pretty much after season 2, I wasn't as big of a fan of them. I think it's interesting that they brought Winnie in the show. They didn't have to, because Winnie doesn't appear in the books. But I think it's interesting how they brought her in to not just create an obstacle between Anne and Gilbert, but also to bring something new into Gilbert's life that I think he didn't have when it came to Anne. She was like his teacher when it came to dating. I think that's so interesting, and I think we have to consider that she might have been another option for him, and it's not just about Anne and Gilbert all the time. So I think that's also another thing that I wanted to clear up. Of course, I still ship Anne and Gilbert. Do I think their slow burn could have been better in this show? Yes. I like to play with the idea that Winnie could have been Gilbert's wife if he hadn't not proposed to her in that last moment. The final thing I'm going to bring up is the reason why I was laughing at Anne when she was drunk and she was on that boat, and Gilbert like comes up at that moment and he like sees her and she's like, I don't know, I can't do that scene. I think it's so funny how, like, we're obviously looking at that image of Anne through Gilbert's perspective, but in real life, if it wasn't from Gilbert's perspective, I'm sure her hair would be, like, all over her face. She would have already fallen by now. I think that was just so funny how they showed his perspective as, like, this, like, perfect image of Anne, but, like, in real life, it wouldn't be like that. That's all. I might have just a weird sense of humor. I don't know. But yeah, I hope this cleared up some things, I guess. So I'm still editing my episode 9 reaction by the time I'm filming this. That reaction will be coming out in a few days because I'm still editing it, but I'm just gonna post this, and I hope this explains stuff as I said. And then after that, episode 10, I honestly don't know what I said in those episodes because, as I said, it's been a while It's been months and months since I filmed those, so I honestly don't remember. I hope this video also clears up for future things I say in those videos. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. One last thing, I'm sorry. When I said, oh, there's 2 more episodes left, thank God, I did not know back then that the show would be canceled. I did not mean it in that way. I didn't want the show to be canceled. Not that anyone thought that, but I'm just bringing that up right now just in case you thought that I wanted the show to be canceled. I don't know. I didn't. Of course I don't. I still want the show to be picked up. I want to see how everything turns out in Queen's Academy. But yeah, subscribe to this channel if you guys want. Follow me on all my social media accounts. They should be appearing on the screen right now. Like this video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys soon with my episode 9 reaction. Bye! Mwah.